Hello everyone, I'm here today with another video that's part of my read and review series where I scrap in a traveler's notebook about the books I read. And I'm still working on 2019. I'm getting close to the end though, but today I have this book, Open House by Elizabeth Berg. And I want to say something about my process of finding books before I actually scrap, because I know some of you that follow along have said, oh, I love reading, or I want to start this process, and I enjoy the review part of the book, what I thought of it, just as much as the scrapping. So part of what I do to find books that I don't want to say that I know I'll like, because I don't. There have been some I've picked where I've abandoned them because I didn't like them. But what I do a lot of the time is I go to used stores, thrift stores like Goodwill, or where I live, we have one called Savers. Things of that nature where it's secondhand, reused things. And what I do is I will go into the book section and I just grab something that looks interesting from the cover, maybe read the back to get the description, and then I will pull out my phone and go to Goodreads, and I will look at how many stars it's gotten, a couple of the first reviews just to see what people think, and then I buy based on that, whether I think it'll be good or not. And I have found a lot of cheap books that way, and this was one of them, and this happened to be a good one. I really enjoyed this book. I think there were some things in it that were a little cliche, but I still enjoyed it, and it just happened that it was also one from Oprah's book club, so that's pretty cool. Okay, let's get on to the actual scrapping, shall we? So I have my photo, and I had already picked out this strip of paper I wanted to use. I actually keep a special, it's like a huge, it's bigger than a gallon size. I don't even know what size it is, but it's like a huge Ziploc style bag. And I keep scraps in there or things that are sized for a TN layout so that I can easily grab those papers, and then I'm using up scraps more frequently than cutting into new paper. And this is one that was in there. And I just liked the way it looked here because I've got some tones that match this sort of tan yellowy color, and then these little green things here that are on the tub match here. And so I figured that would probably be okay. Now I probably will have to cut this down into two strips so that I have one for each side, because I do want them to match. And I really don't have anything else picked out for this layout yet. So this kind of has to be the base of what I'm working with, because I got nothing else. So I took that piece and I cut it into two equal strips, and I think I'm just going to adhere them like this, kind of towards the outside edge, maybe a little bit in, just a bit, so that it leaves me room where I could put washi, or I could stamp, or I could put another very thin piece of paper. I just want to make sure I allow myself a little bit of room to add something if I want to. I have adhered the strips where I want them, and when I held up the photo to the strip here, I feel like it's too much. I think I need a border here, so I'm going to have to matte this with something, and I'm thinking maybe this kind of light tan color. Obviously not white, it'll blend too much in the background. So I think I'm going to start and kind of look for this shade of tan here, maybe even this kind of rust color here, and I'll just go in my scraps and see what I find. All right, so I pulled out my bag of brown tone scraps here, and in there I found a piece of just craft cardstock, and I think that might work very well. But if I use it, I think I need to ink the edge to really make it match. And I know I do have a color, it's from Stampin' Up, and I think it's called Really Rust or something to that effect. I'm gonna pull that out, ink with that, and see if I can get it to match. Okay, so when I went into my inks to ink the edge of this, I don't know where I got that Really Rust thing. I think there was a former ink with that name or something similar made by Stampin' Up, and it probably got old and I chucked it. This is the closest thing I found in my newer inks. This one is Cajun Craze, which maybe replaced that one or was a somewhat similar color. I don't remember how all that went down, but this is what I chose to use, and I think that it ended up matching it pretty well. I mean, it's thin, you can barely see it against the edge, but that's what I want, just so that it stands out a little bit from that stark white background. So I have that, and I think I may keep this out because I may do some stamping with it just to bring in more color. I don't know what I would stamp. I have 4 or 5 sets of stamps that are all about books and reading, so I'm sure I could find something. Right now, I don't know what that would be, but I'm going to keep it out here just in case. But I do think that I want to take the photo and place it about here. Not totally to the top, because I do want to leave room for myself should I find something to add there. And then I don't know what I would put down here. I really want to reserve this part for as much journaling as I want to do. So I can't put a ton over here, but since the photo is already on this side, I figure I can add in and embellish something over here. All right, so I have attached the photo. And another thing I want to say about this book, just to kind of give you an idea if you are interested in reading it, is that it's about a woman who goes through a divorce. And I've been through a divorce. Now, in this book, the divorce kind of happens to her. She did not initiate it. It wasn't totally unexpected, but of course it still throws her for a loop. In my situation, I was the one who initiated the divorce, but it still threw me for a loop. It completely changes your life, and you have to figure out how you're going to change your life after, how you're going to find a new normal. And I think a lot of us can relate to that. And so I liked it for that reason. Again, there are some kind of cliche things in there, but I think it still resonates well for anybody who's been through that in their life. So if that interests you, you might enjoy this book. So that's my little plug for the book itself. Now, to go on with scrapping, I'm going to add this. I love it. It's a very, very thin wood veneer, and I love it that it's a circular element because I have circles here. There's a circle on the cover. I love it. And I think I'm actually going to put it on this side. I was thinking I would keep all the embellishments over here, but now I think I want to add this one maybe way down here. And then if I end up journaling the whole page, I can just journal around it, which kind of adds, a slight visual interest, I think, where it's not just straight down. It will curve off a little bit to work around this and then come back. All right, I've attached the wood veneer, and I do want to give a little shout out here to the company who makes them. They are called Color Cast Designs, and primarily they do acrylic pieces, and I have one that I bought from them here as well. It says Books of 2020. I'm going to use that for my books of the new year once I can finally get through 2019. But they also do some wood veneer like this, and I love them because she comes up with, it's a female owner, she comes up with cool sayings, and I love that they're so incredibly thin. They don't take up a lot of space. They don't create a lot of bulk, so you can totally use them in a TN like this. And they're self-adhesive, so you don't even have to put anything on them. You just peel off the backing, stick it on, and you're good to go. When I was trying to figure out what else to do with this, I pulled out this set of chipboard that I have, and actually the piece that was down here is this one. And it's got kind of that orangey tone to it, which appears in the book photo and in the paper here, and it has tiny little stars on it, and there's a star cut out here. So I figured, well, I could probably make that work together. So I think I'm just going to place it around here somewhere, and it keeps with that circular theme too, which I love. I decided to actually put that chipboard sticker here because I didn't have anything else going on this side of the page, and that way I have 2 circular elements that have been added. Then I have pulled out all of my book and reading stamps that I have right now to figure out what else can I put on the layout on these pages that will make it fun. For my stamping, I've decided to start with this set, and I'm going to use the stamp that says Cozy Up with a Good Book. Because I have this that says on my nightstand, it conjures up, oh, I was reading it in bed probably before I went to sleep. And so I thought, well, this is fitting. So I feel like they go together, so I'm going to use this. And then I just want to say the name of the stamp set here. It's called Read by Carrie Bradford Studio. I'm not sure how well the camera's picking that up, but that's the name of it. I have no idea if it's still available. I've had it for a little while anyway, but if you like it, that's where you can find it. There it is with the stamping done, and I love it. And then looking at this, I think I want to work in some of this green here, kind of that sage green tone. Stamping something else, but again, I'm not quite sure what yet, so I'm going to look at that next. So here's the rest of my stamping. This one just says red, with a check mark, which I like. And then over here I have reading time. And this one gave me a little trouble when I stamped it because, you know, there's stuff under here. It's a little chunky and it didn't stamp evenly. And then I caught the edge of the block here. However, given like this pattern of paper, because of all this stuff on it, you might think that's just part of the paper. So like, I'm not going to cover it up or anything. I'm just going to leave it. And that's probably all the stamping I'll do. Now I want to figure out, do I want to add something, a little washi or something over here, or leave the edges blank? All right, I decided to add washi, and this is the one that I chose. I knew I wanted something very thin, and I liked the idea of the green, but it needed to have a pattern or something in it to spice the layout up a little bit. And this one had foil, so I thought that was a good choice. So I put some here, only one piece on this side, and then I did 2 pieces on the other side in all different lengths. And then I also decided to just take a very, very fine tip black pen and just put in a little bit of a black line leading up to the washi just for visual interest. And then when I write in black, hopefully it won't be such a big contrast. But as for this one, I think it's done. I always do my journaling off camera, so this layout's complete. Thanks for watching, everyone.